Next on the news. Pope Leo XIV is currently on his first international trip. The Holy Father sending messages of unity to Christians of all denominations while in Turkey and Lebanon.
We are all invited to overcome the scandal of the divisions that unfortunately still exist.
A 9/11 advocate returned to the Lord because of a 9/11 related illness. The FDNY says goodbye to retired Deputy Chief James Ritchie's. Plus, from the youngest to the oldest parishioners, a church in Astoria is ensuring no one goes hungry.
A Queens Catholic community steps up after this church food pantry lost 80% of its funding. I'm Katie Vasquez, and I'll have that story coming up.
I'm Christine Persichetti. Current News starts right now. Pope Leo XIV had a busy Thanksgiving weekend, the first American pontiff going on his first international trip as Pope. The journey to Turkey and Lebanon is one Catholics and Christians in the region can be thankful for, as the successor of St. Peter prayed for peace and unity.
From a Holy Mass in Turkey on Saturday at Volkswagen Arena, attended by thousands, to a quiet moment of prayer on Monday in Lebanon at the tomb of St. Charbel, the underlying theme of Pope Leo XIV's visit to these countries is peace.
Peace is a gift that comes from God and which, above all, dwells in our hearts.
This was the Holy Father's first meeting upon his arrival in Beirut on Sunday. People lined the streets of the Lebanese capital, waving Vatican flags in front of bombed-out buildings. The Pope bringing a message of unity just days after an Israeli strike on southern Beirut. He addressed the country's authorities and diplomatic corps at the presidential palace.
You who have important institutional tasks within this nation are destined for a special beatitude if you can say that you have put the goal of peace above all else.
Pope Leo emphasized the richness that religious diversity brings to the country and the need to continue fostering it. On Friday, the Pope joined some 20 church leaders, presidents, and secretaries of Christian communities from around the world in Iznik. 1,700 years ago, it was known as Nicaea, the place where the first ecumenical council ever was held. This stop, the main reason for Pope Leo's first apostolic journey, where he emphasized unity.
We are all invited to overcome the scandal of the divisions that unfortunately still exist, and to nurture the desire for unity for which the Lord Jesus prayed and gave his life.
The pontiff also urged those in attendance not to confuse religion with any form of fanaticism.
We must strongly reject the use of religion for justifying war, violence, or any form of fundamentalism or fanaticism. Instead, the paths to follow are those of fraternal encounter, dialogue, and cooperation.
Pope Leo removed his shoes as a sign of respect when visiting the Blue Mosque on Saturday. But unlike his predecessors, the pontiff declined to pray in the mosque. From there, he went to the only Christian temple built in Turkey in over 100 years, belonging to the Syriac Orthodox community, where he met with several leaders from different Christian denominations.
The Pope ended his Monday meeting with young people in Lebanon. On Tuesday, the Holy Father will visit the site of the Beirut port explosion to say a prayer, then will celebrate Mass at the Beirut waterfront. Joining us now to talk about the Pope's historic apostolic journey is Bishop Gregory Mansour of the Eparchy of St. Maron. Hi, Bishop.
Hi, Christine. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. So as I mentioned, the Pope's main reason for this trip was to celebrate the 1700th year anniversary of the Council of Nicaea, the first ecumenical council ever that was meant to unify the different Christian churches. So how has Pope Leo furthered that message of unity during this trip?
Well, Christine, at that council, as you and your viewers know, it was made very clear that Jesus did not become God. In fact, God became man. That's the whole idea of Nicaea. And so, because God became man, he came to serve us. Can you imagine that? A God who loves to serve us, who bows down and washes our feet. And so Pope Leo, as the popes before him, said that Christians are called to the same. We are not just worshiping empty. We worship in a love for others, in a service to others, and a service to unity. And that's what the Pope has been doing in Turkey and now today in Lebanon.
Absolutely. And another theme from the Holy Father this trip was peace. On the papal press conference going to Beirut, he said the Vatican is going to continue to act as a mediating voice between Israel and Palestine. And the day after the anniversary of Nicaea, Pope Leo and the ecumenical patriarch Bartholomew signed a joint declaration reaffirming their commitment to peace. So what role do you think Christians have in mediating peace in the Middle East?
The same that Jesus did. Jesus mediated peace between God and man in his own person. And Pope Leo has been saying to us, and that's what he said very clearly, I'm not making this up, very clearly, that blessed are the peacemakers means that we are those mediators Christ Jesus was. And for us to reach out one hand towards one enemy and the other end towards the other enemy, bring them towards each one another. And we ourselves, when we are at fault, to make God's mercy and peace available to not only us, but to everybody around us.
Pope Leo's journey continues into tomorrow. What do you hope for before he returns home?
I don't know that I could hope for anything more. I've been watching his visits to St. Charbel this morning, to Our Lady of Lebanon, and then to Turkey, where the Maronite Patriarch is with youth, and then the ecumenical and interfaith beautiful celebration today. I don't know that it can get anything better except for tomorrow when God becomes man and dwells among us in the Holy Eucharist. And so that's why the Holy Father will celebrate. Oh, and one other thing, before he does that, he will visit a group of very special needs adults and children who are taken care of by the Franciscan sisters. So his visit is an icon of God's love and service towards us, and we ought to be the same towards one another.
Absolutely, a jam-packed few days. Bishop Gregory Mansour of the Eparchy of St. Maron, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Christine.
All right, you can read more about Pope Leo's journey so far online at thetablet.org. On Monday, the FDNY said goodbye to a former deputy chief and 9/11 advocate. Members of New York's bravest lining the streets of St. Patrick's Church in Bay Ridge to give a final salute to James Richies. The retired deputy chief spent months at Ground Zero searching for the remains of his oldest son who was killed in the attacks. His family is confirming the 74-year-old's death was because of exposure to that toxic dust. He is survived by his wife of 55 years, his 3 sons, and 8 grandchildren. Before the holiday weekend, Brooklyn Bishop Robert Brennan wished his diocese a happy Thanksgiving, thanking faithful for walking together as pilgrims of hope and encouraging one another on the journey, reminding them to give thanks always in the good and in the bad times.
So no matter what the circumstances, whether we are incredibly busy these days or quiet and even alone, let's find a moment to reflect on even the simple things and turn to the Lord, who is the source of all hope.
The bishop also released a message on Sunday reminding his flock that we are now in the season of Advent. Food banks across the country are reporting a greater need this holiday season. In the week leading up to Thanksgiving, St. John's Bread and Life says they served more than 100,000 meals. That's a 30% increase from last year when the Bedford-Stuyvesant Food Pantry served close to 78,000 meals. And while food pantries try to meet that need while also dealing with rising food costs, one parish has banded together to make sure no one goes hungry. One of the groups leading the community effort is made up of the church's youngest parishioners. Currents News' Katie Vasquez has the story from Astoria.
Since October, the service club at St. Joseph Catholic Academy has been collecting grocery items. But they don't need to take them far.
Thank you.
The school is helping their parish help the needy.
I had thought it was really kind of all of us, to give back to our community, help out others.
Each of the grades donated food to St. Joseph's food pantry.
My family, we went to the grocery store, we bought a ton of food, like cake mix, canned foods.
Dozens of people line up hours before the doors open. But while the need continues to grow,
Juice or milk?
the money to operate the pantry has actually decreased because they lost 80% of their funding from the Food Bank of New York.
Unfortunately, this year, they've had cutbacks, so they were not able to give us grants. In the past, they have been extremely generous and given us money. So we now are in a situation where we don't have the grant money.
Without the school, it would be difficult for the pantry to serve the needy.
It would come to the point where we would have to get money from the church. The school's been very helpful, very helpful.
It's also an important lesson for students in kindness and generosity.
I think it's really good to give food to people who need it the most. And if you were in that situation, you would want someone to bring food to you and provide support.
And during this time of giving, the students are glad they can help.
It just makes me realize how other people don't have it as easy.
I was really happy that I would be able to give back to my community. I just love giving back.
St. Joseph parishioners, the Girl Scouts, and Knights of Columbus have also stepped up to help the pantry. In Astoria, Katie Vasquez, Currents News.
And if you're also in the giving spirit, why not take part in a campaign that's been helping the kids of the Diocese of Brooklyn for decades? That's right, the tablet's Bright Christmas is starting again, and they need your help to continue this more than 60-year-old tradition. The paper is looking to raise $110,000 so they can make sure every kid throughout Brooklyn and Queens has a gift under the tree this Christmas. So if you want to donate, you can go online to thetablet.org/brightchristmas or make a check out to the Tablet Bright Christmas Fund and mail it to 860 Pacific Street in Brooklyn. The zip code there, 11238. And that is this Currents News Update. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.